From Wayne to Transylvania to, yes, Hell, Michigan, and now Woodland, this is a very special edition of Monsoon Live right here on YouTube. I am your host, the chairman of the board, Jeffrey Monsoon Mysick. And yes, we are on location in Woodland for our Halloween edition of Monsoon Live. And today we have a great show for you. We have a very special guest via Skype. We're going to get to that in a minute. But first, as always, it's the end of October going into November, which means it's time for Weather NG right here on Monsoon Live. Well, as we go back an hour for the time shift, it's going to be a gorgeous day here in the Philadelphia area. Today's going to be sunny, high of 67, but the rain's going to be coming in towards the evening with chance of rain tomorrow night, and then Monday, chance of rain. Temperature going to be 65. And for the rest of the week for our area, it's not going to feel like a typical fall day. It's going to more feel like spring as temperatures stay in the upper 60s to low 70s. And that, of course, is Weather NG right here on Monsoon Live. And now it is time, folks. I'm very privileged and honored to going to be showing you guys a Skype interview with my buddy Travis Lee Hartman. Travis and I have been friends for a while. I actually saw him fight Chavez Jr. on YouTube, and someone told me, hey, here's a young fighter in the welterweight going up in lightweight. And I'm like, oh, this is great. You know, got to get to know him. And he and I became friends on Facebook. And a couple weeks ago, I reached out to him saying, hey, we do a show about boxing here. Would you like to be on the show? And Travis said, sure. So we decided to do it today, but because of some technical difficulties, pretty much there's some bad storms in Missouri, we did our interview a little bit differently. Let's just say smartphone technology saved the day, as we were able to send the questions to him via the smartphone, and he answered. So right now, I'm proud to present this very special interview with my dear good friend, Mr. Travis Lee Hartman. So, what got you into boxing?
I was actually 6 years old, and I stayed the night at one of my best friends' house. And for whatever reason, it was a local YMCA in a neighboring town called Cameron, Missouri. And he wanted me to go with him to this boxing gym. I thought it was crazy. I've never ever been around that from a small town. So I went with him and ended up loving it. So I went home, told my dad all about it, and I practically drug my dad there at 6 years old, which is crazy to do that at 6 years old. But so I convinced my dad to take me back, and he ended up loving it. Never boxed in his life. He was a football guy from Texas. That's where my dad was born and raised. He actually went to the same high school as RG3, the Redskins guy, to Copper's Cove. But so we went back there. I ended up loving it. My dad loved it. And then I have an older brother as well. And he loved it. So me, my older brother, and my dad all got started at the same time. My dad literally learned from day one with us. He was self-taught, learned from the other guys in our gym. And my dad ended up coaching me my entire amateur career and pretty much most of my professional career as well. And my little brother also, he was too young, obviously. He was 4 years old when I started. So he didn't get started until a little bit later. But that's kind of the gist of how boxing got started in our family. And now, the rest is history.
Yeah. Let's see.
When he's answering a question, you should be texting the next question and then get ready to send it when he's done answering.
Gotcha. What advice do you give to young fighters?
The only advice that I can give, and it's not only to a young fighter, it's to young people in general. And this is exactly what I would tell them. If you love something, put everything that you have into it. And that's your passion, your desire, your love. Do something that you love. And if you love boxing, do it the right way. train your butt off. Do every possible thing that you can do. People think that they see all these top-notch athletes that, oh my gosh, they have these $1 million boxing gyms and these $1 million training equipment. You don't need any of that. And that's the honest-to-God truth. I mean, I know that you can ask Floyd Mayweather that. You go to his gym, and everything that he does there, you could do anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know, he's obviously exceptionally talented, but, I mean, you don't need machines to fuel a desire. If you have the desire and the passion, that's all you need, period. So, for young fighters, I would say, find something you love and just do it.
Cool. Who was your toughest opponent?
This is a good one because I've been asked this quite a bit because I fought, everybody. I fought Julio Cesar Chavez. I fought Keith Thurman. I fought the who's who of everything. Terrence Crawford, Danny O'Connor. All these guys. So I said this way back when. It was 2009, and I fought Terrence Crawford in Pennsylvania. I don't know how I did it, but I went the distance with this guy. Actually, I do. It's a funny story, so I'll go into that too real fast.
Go for it.
First, my answer is Terrence Crawford. And right after I fought him, I even said it on the radio. I go, you guys, nobody's heard of this kid, but you better look out because this kid's going to be a superstar. And I've been in the ring with a lot of greats in the amateurs and the pros. I mean, I beat Nonito Donaire in the amateurs. I beat Anthony Jarrell in the amateurs as well. So I've been in with a lot of good people. So when I fought Terrence, I was like, this kid's going to be good. So the backstory to the Terrence Crawford fight in Philadelphia, or I think it was York, Pennsylvania, if I'm right, was I was scheduled to fight him in a 4-round fight. And ironically, the night before, when I was in Pennsylvania, I got a call to fight at the Playboy Mansion 2 weeks later. So going into that fight, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I got to fight my butt off. One, I can't get hurt. I can't get stopped because you get a suspension if you get hurt or stopped. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to fight my butt off because I want to fight at the Playboy Mansion. I mean, how epic would that be? So going into the Terrence Crawford fight, I wasn't fully prepared for that fight. It was a short notice fight, but I fought my butt off. And there was nothing stopping me that night. And I ended up losing a 4-round decision, so I didn't get suspended. However, that dang commissioner in Pennsylvania, it was actually a whole big story about it, but he unfairly suspended me. He found out that I was going to fight at the Playboy Mansion, and he still suspended me for 30 days. It was the biggest controversy for a while, but the long story of all of that is that Terrence Crawford is by far one of the best opponents that I've fought. I've fought a lot of greats. Like I said, Keith Thurman is good. No doubt Keith Thurman is good, but Terrence Crawford right now, in my mind, he stands out the most.
Okay. Who would you like to face?
Who would I like to face? There's a couple people, to be honest. So I fought, if you look at my record, you can see that, first of all, my record's not as good as it should be, but there's a lot of reasons behind that as well. But there was one fight, it was Jorge Paez Jr. Mm-hmm. I fought him on HBO pay-per-view on the undercard of the Antonio Tarver and Bernard Hopkins fight. Mm-hmm. And I was actually pretty prepared. I was still young in my career, but I was actually trained properly for that fight. They actually gave me, 4 weeks notice, so I had 4 weeks to train for that fight. And I fought really well. I was young, but I was learning still. And if you watch that fight, it was only a 4-round decision, but tons of people came up to me after that fight. Even Paez's co-promoter at the time, which is Sean Gibbons, who works with like Pacquiao and all those guys now. Yeah. Sean Gibbons even came up to me. He was like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "I thought that was a draw easily." So honestly, I mean, most people wouldn't think that would be the fight I would want back, but I would like to fight Jorge Paez Jr. again. Obviously, I would love to fight Chavez Jr., but he kind of just blew up out of my weight class. But, yeah. Because that was when I fought him as well. It was I wasn't 100% healthy for that one, so I would love to have that one back too, just for the simple fact that I wasn't fully ready for that. But he's, like I said, he's 180. He's a light heavyweight now. So realistically, the one that I could get back, it would be a Paez Jr. So that would be kind of a cool throwback to the old days against Paez Jr.
Sweet. This one, of course. Okay. How do you feel watching your brother fight?
Yeah, that definitely threw me for a loop because I'm pretty nervous before my fights. You know, it's just the natural nerves. I think if you're not a little nervous, there's something wrong with you. So I'm always a little nervous before my fights, even. But for something, it's just I'm emotionally and physically wore out after one of his fights, just because I think it's just. First of all, he's my little brother, so I want the best for him. Plus, I know how hard this sport is, so I'm just physically and emotionally drained. And for my younger brother, I actually help manage his career. I help train him, so I take care of everything as well. So it's very emotionally demanding for sure. But the upside of all of that is that, the kid's undefeated. He's 7-0 as a professional boxer. So that's very enjoying for me to see that, and just to watch him accomplish all of the things that I know that he can do, and I know how good it feels to be at that point as well. So that's very rewarding.
Okay. This is our last question. Okay, this is our last question. What does the future hold for Team Hartman?
That's a very open-ended question, but I think that because since I've kind of been on the downslide, I guess you could say, of my career. Not the downslide, but it's just I'm closer to being done, obviously, than I am from starting. So I started a management company, Team Hartman and TH Management. So I've got a couple fighters that we're bringing up along with my brother. I have a couple other fighters as well. And the future for us is, I think it's very bright. And right now, the plan is for December 5th, I want to, before I retire from boxing, I want to be able to fight on the same card as my younger brother. I just think it's something special. I don't think there's a lot of people that can say they competed professionally on the same night as their sibling. So that's kind of on my bucket list right now. So hopefully we can pull this off. I think we're shooting for December 5th, and it'll be one of my brother's toughest fights to date. And then obviously we're trying to lock in an opponent for me as well right now. And honestly, after that happens, you'll probably see me right off into the sunset sooner than later. Since I can accomplish that's really one of my goals. And what I mean by right off into the sunset is competing wise, because I love boxing. Boxing's in my blood. I'm always going to be around it, and I'm always going to try to pass on all my knowledge and things that I did to future guys coming up, because I do love the sport. And I think that all the experiences, good and bad, that I went through, I think it's for me to pass on, and that's what I enjoy doing.
Okay. Well, you've inspired me in the show, and we will be covering your card, and we'd love to have you back on sometime to promote it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jeff. This has been awesome, man. I hope that anybody can be inspired by anybody. It doesn't take a famous person. It doesn't take anybody special to inspire somebody. It takes yourself and just the guy next to you. If you see him working a little hard at the gym, then you work harder. It's just everybody can inspire everybody. And if we all believe that and we all started doing that, taking a little inspiration from everybody, I think this world would be a lot better place. Not just boxing, but I think the world would be if we just all inspired each other a little more than we do. And you do, man. I follow you on your Facebook as well, and I love seeing you do what you love, man. This right here is awesome, and I'm always going to support people who go for it, and I think that you go for it, and that's what I like.
So amen to that, and thank you very much, buddy.
All right, thanks again, Jeff, and have a great day, man.
You too. See ya. Well, guys, that is our show. We're going to go now into my closing thought. And it has been a great week. I hope you guys had a great week. And this is just the beginning of some of the stuff that you're going to see on Monsoon Live. We got some more interviews coming your way. We're in the process of talking with some couple other boxers. Obviously, you will eventually see me again in the arena. We're also looking forward to some great stuff. But I want to leave you with this thought. This is going to be something as we go marching towards our 50th show. We've been doing YouTube videos for now 50 shows. If you got something, if you want to do something you're passionate about for it, as Travis has said, go for it. work harder. If you see someone working just a little harder than you, work harder than them, and you'll go far in life. Well, that's our show from On Location this week. I'm Jeffrey Monsoon. Hope you guys have a great week. Next week, a couple more great stuff, talks about the fight, and yes, we will cover the Temple versus Notre Dame game in a little bit of section on our sports. But for now, from Woodland and around the world, have a great week. Later days.